Tonight, people packed into the Lakewood City Council meeting. They're demanding an independent investigation into the death of Jax Gratton. The transgender hairstylist was found dead in June, weeks after she was last seen leaving her home in southeast Denver.
9 News reporter Spencer Soicher is in Lakewood for Spencer. This request from advocates for more oversight is not new. They say her autopsy report, Jax's autopsy, is all the more reason to get fresh eyes on this case.
Yeah, the coroner with the autopsy there found that the results were inconclusive. He concluded that Jax either fell, pushed, or jumped out of a second-story window above where her body was later found, but couldn't conclude how she died. Advocates who came here tonight are unhappy with the police investigation. First, that it took so long to find Jax's body, nearly 2 months. Then that the coroner's report came back inconclusive and that no one has been held accountable for her death. Advocates also angry with the Lakewood Police Department's handling of the case and how they've dealt with the LGBTQ community. They say the department has called Jax by her dead name, the name she was born with. The police chief has apologized for that. Tonight they gathered here to call for independent oversight. And while Jax's family was not here in attendance, a woman read a message she said was directly from Jax's mom.
Instead of finding solace in her memories, my days are full of media calls, autopsies, research, managing rumors, coordinating with the police, and advocacy. No one should have this pain. No mother should have to fight in the midst of heartbreak. We need independent oversight now. The key word here is independent.
And just a couple of moments ago, some of the city council members responded to those requests, one saying that they're working on items and expect that they will keep showing up to future city council meetings. Another said they were frustrated that government is moving slowly, but they kept hinting at some sort of proposal that's coming here in the near future. But tonight, no direct action taken like these advocates wanted. Live in Lakewood, Spencer Soicher, 9 News.
The Lee Fire between Meeker and Rifle is now considered a mega fire, as in it's burned more than 100,000 acres. As of a couple of hours ago, it burned more than 116,000 acres, roughly 180 square miles. The governor's issued disaster declarations to bring in more resources for that and another fire in Rio Blanco County. The Lee Fire is the more concerning of the two. It exploded in size over the weekend, ran south down into Garfield County toward Rifle. As of tonight, firefighters have just 6% containment. The Elk Fire is east of Meeker. That's moving away from town and much smaller, 14,000 acres and a third contained. 4 of Colorado's largest fires by acreage have burned in just the last 5 years. Number 1, Cameron Peak. Number 2, East Troublesome. Number 3, Pine Gulch. And now the Lee Fire at number 5. Experts blame hot, dry, windy conditions year after year.
Where the real challenge ends up coming in is the logistical support for fires that are this big. We end up, 2-hour drive times away from areas of the fire. So setting up remote camps and supporting the firefighters with food and places to sleep and all of those things really become the biggest challenge when these get that large.
The state's climatologist told us that climate change is not the only thing driving the rising size and frequency of megafires in Colorado, but the climatologist said it is certainly one factor. Let's bring in meteorologist Kathy Saban. Yeah, you look at the statistics, Kathy, it's undeniable. The number of the worst fires in state history that have been within the last 20 years, nearly all of them. Then the number of megafires in the last 5 years, 4 of them.
It's significant.
It is. It's tied to our also recent drought pattern, but also the increase in temperature year after year, as you mentioned, tied to global warming and climate change. And it is changing and will continue to change. And it's something that, scientists are trying to figure out how to manage. And fire season is year-round here in Colorado. We talk about it all the time. And having a week like last week where temperatures ran close to 100 degrees for 5 or 6 days in a row, and you had those fluctuating and very gusty winds, that just dries out everything. We had a little bit of a reprieve today, a little less smoke and haze, our air quality a bit better. Temperatures today running cooler than average in the low 80s. We're still comfortable out there at 72 in Denver this hour. Winds are lighter, but winds winds were gusty earlier on. The air quality alert that was out for Denver for high levels of ground ozone canceled out at 4 o'clock, but wildfire smoke has prompted National Weather Service and the Regional Air Quality Council to put out an air quality and health advisory through at least tomorrow morning. Not a lot of moisture. I did have enough in southeastern Colorado to track on radar of a few light showers, and that was it. We're going to see this pattern again tomorrow afternoon with limited moisture for showers to cool us off and to help us out. So we'll bottom out in the 60s tonight, kind of a nice evening. Coming up, we'll check the radar again, have that smoke and air quality forecast. We're headed into record territory Wednesday and Thursday. So details on that with your extended forecast coming up.
Police say last night's deadly motorcycle crash in southeast Denver was no accident. They arrested a man who they say intentionally rammed a motorcycle into oncoming traffic. It happened near Hamden in Yosemite just before 7:30 last night. Investigators say 45-year-old Diego Ortega Camaro got into an argument with two men riding on one motorcycle. They say one of those men fired a shot. Police say Ortega Camaro then slammed his car into the bike, pushing it into the path of another car. One of the men was killed, the other was critically hurt. Ortega Camaro is now facing charges of vehicular homicide and assault. Prosecutors are looking through documents for more than 90 cases that were stored in a crawl space of a now retired Aurora police detective's home. 9 News Investigates found some of those documents were from the 2006 murder of an Aurora police officer. Officer Michael Thomas was in plain clothes, driving in his own car when a gunman killed him at a stoplight nearly 20 years ago. An Adams County jury convicted Brian Washington of murder and other charges. He was sentenced to 80 years in state prison, where he remains tonight. He's hoping to get back into a courtroom with a pending appeal. Our 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says the revelation that a detective in the case brought documents back to his home could come into play.
If the lawyer handling the appeal wants to do so, they can ask the Court of Appeals to send the case back down to the trial court to determine whether there is new information that might help their client.
Robinson says it's really only will matter to the case if the documents taken home from the detective were withheld from the defense. It could take months to go through all of the casework.
Denver will not be switching to ranked choice voting anytime soon. Tonight, City Council decided against putting it on the ballot in November. Instead of having winner-take-all elections or having a runoff where the race is narrowed to 2 candidates, ranked choice voting has voters rank their choices through a process of elimination. You say, I want this one first, second, third, fourth, fifth, so on. Winner is determined with just one ballot.
Campaigns tend to be more positive because you can't risk turning off someone else's voters because you want to be their second or their third choice.
So Denver currently has a different system for paring down wide open races. Take the 2023 mayor's race. There were 17 candidates. Kim, you remember? A bunch of them all debated on 9 News. There are like 13 of them up there. Look like a clown car.
Like, who's who?
Yeah, voters narrowed it down to 2, Mike Johnson and Kelly Brough for a runoff.
In our current system, you get a second ballot. Even the people who didn't vote for Mike Johnson or Kelly Brough couldn't stand them. They still get to weigh in and decide which one will win.
Tonight, in a 7-6 vote, Council decided not to move ahead with ranked choice voting, putting it up for approval in November.
While school leaders in Denver are excited to welcome kids back to class 1 week from today, they're also feeling some uncertainty.
Let's talk with 9 News reporter Rachel Krause, who had a conversation with the superintendent about that. Rachel?
Yeah, I sat down with Dr. Alex Marrero. He says there are 3 big issues that have him worried as they start the school year during an uncertain time: declining enrollment, the potential for ICE raids near schools, as well as federal funding, in particular what their budget will look like if that goes away. Next week, kids in Colorado's largest school district head back to class.
I'm incredibly excited about the start of the school year.
Dr. Alex Marrero, Denver Public Schools superintendent, says he's excited too that they'll start the year with all the federal funding promised to them. Money that was held up by the Trump administration last month.
They were appropriated and held hostage. Now it's been dispersed. However, it's an indication of where we will be, I believe, next year.
This year, $10 million was at risk. If they lose that money altogether next year, Marrero says they'll need to make hard choices, including whether to close schools.
The last thing you want to do is shut our doors, but you are right. If we have to reduce our overall operating budget to the tens of millions of dollars, I was provided that caveat in the board policy that I can activate EL 18, executive limitation 18, which is something I do not want to do, but this will prompt that for sure.
The influx of thousands of new-to-country students in recent years has bolstered DPS's enrollment. Marrero worries if ICE targets the areas around schools, families may decide to leave the district. He hopes they don't.
Our doors are continuously going to be open.
The district has already caught the Trump administration's attention. Last year, a gender-neutral bathroom at East High School led the Department of Education to open a Title IX civil rights investigation into the district.
Yes, we have tremendous concerns that we will continue to be a target. I believe wholeheartedly that we have been a target.
With the school year soon to start, Marrero says it's federal funding, the possibility of immigration raids, and declining enrollment that have him concerned. Uncertainty that's likely to linger.
I'm beyond excited, but also concerned about what could happen, right? It's difficult to lead in this environment when you really do not know what's coming next.
Marrero says there's a lot of worry and concern starting this school year, understandably. He says with so much unknown, they're focusing on preparing for all possibilities while continuing to provide quality education. Reporting live in Denver, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Hey, you can still donate to our 9 News School Supply Drive, which wraps up tonight. We've partnered with the United Way in Colorado to raise money for school essentials. Scan that QR code to donate to help kids get a head start on school this year. We have more information on 9news.com.